intersection of good drinks, good music, and good times. This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations.
Somehow, I swear we travel all over the world, all over America, and lately we've been in Nashville, a little bit in Canada. We're headed back down to Texas because we always have fun down there, and we've got a great group out of there. They're better known as Dexter and The Moonrocks. Their latest song, Like You, is out now. It's a follow-up to their EP, Western Space Grunge, which they released this summer. Let's welcome in James Tufts and Fox. Guys, welcome in.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, you were up in my neck of the woods recently. I wasn't able to get out there, but you guys were in Louisville for Bourbon and Beyond. How was that?
Awesome.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. It was the shortest set I think we've ever done. It was 30 minutes, all gas, no breaks, and it was it was very cool. The crowd was a lot bigger than I thought it would be, which was like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
That's very fun at festivals.
I don't think I'll ever get used to seeing people at festivals sing our songs. Ever. It makes sense at one of our shows, but at a festival, it just blows my mind every time.
Yeah. And the cool part is too, it's like when you start the set and then it's like it looks like there's like 800 people there, and then like every song, like it looks like 300 more people get added, and then you look up for the last song and you're like, oh, there's like thousands of people watching us right now. That's crazy. So
Well, I was going to say, we'll get into that because you guys have been able to grow that fan base. More people are listening. They're doing some interesting things. Your fans are. We'll get into some of those stories. This is Bar Conversations, and I always have to ask, what are you guys drinking tonight? Or what's your go-to drink these days?
I'm sipping on tobacco-flavored vape. That's my drink of choice, and a Topo Chico, of course.
I
like it.
I'm having a nice Coors Banquet promptly in the frame. If they would like to sponsor us,
Promptly.
we will take your money. Because I do, in fact, shotgun one of your beers every single show for the last 2 years. Every show.
Correct.
So
Is that like a ritual you have to do to make sure it's a good show?
No, it's I do it at the end of the show. It's just a bit that we've had since we were a small bar band.
It's pretty ceremonial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody has a thing in the show where, like, James will be like, this is our guitar player or this is our bass player, Ryan or Ty. Everybody say hi, Ty. And then it's like, Ty, like, will start a song, Ryan will start a song. And then it's like, Fox is going to shotgun a beer now. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And that's how it goes.
With Ty, we'll get a Ty chant going where the entire crowd are just chanting Ty.
And he hates attention.
Never on beat either.
Never on beat. Never on beat.
We're really making it difficult for Ty by doing that.
And he's starting the
That's
song.
almost why we do it.
And he also hates attention. And so then it's just like it's even worse for him. And it's like, yeah, this is good. Yeah.
I love that. But, you got to have fun with it. And, since, like I said, you guys are down in Texas, we'll get into that a little bit. I got a little Balcones, and because you're the Moonrocks, the Mirador Eclipse release. So
Okay.
Had to find a way to tie everything in. So
Hell yeah, love that. Love that. That's dope.
now you guys do music, but you haven't always done music. At least full time all the time. Fox, is it true that you were coaching kids baseball when this all got started?
I was. It was a part-time job. I was in college. I was a failed Division I athlete. My position was left bench. Sometimes I would play right bench or wouldn't even be in the dugout at all. But those were like my positions I was really good at. And then I sucked at being a baseball player. And, those who can't coach. So I was coaching, and then I met the guys. And then I was in law school for like a semester, but I dropped out. We don't really talk about that. But that's what I was doing when the whole thing kicked off, yeah.
Well, because I was going to say, when you read your guys' bio, it almost sounds like a little bit of like a fun bar joke of how does a fry cook, oil field operator, concrete service decorator, and a baseball coach come together. But how do you all come together?
Man. I didn't have a choice. I went to school with Ryan. I couldn't get away from him, to be honest.
And then Ty didn't have a choice either.
Ty's Ryan's cousin, so they can't escape each other ever. And we were actually looking for a drummer, so we actually seeked out Fox.
Yeah. And then it was Ryan who found me for a completely unrelated reason that we found each other on a website called Bandmix. And I was in Abilene, Texas, and they were in a city that was like 30 miles north of Abilene, which is, if you've ever been to Abilene, 30 miles north of Abilene is just nowhere. It's just nowhere. It just is. And then they were like, you want to come be in a band? And I was like, I ain't got nothing else to do.
Well, and look at you guys now. And is it true, Tuss, whenever Fox joined, the band sort of transitioned from, maybe some pure country to what y'all call maybe Western space grunge now?
I don't think this band ever made that transition. I was previously in another band that was very country that we are not going to say the name of. We released a couple songs. It's called James Tuffs and the Southern Trouble. It doesn't matter. It's not that deep. But released a couple songs, and I knew that I wanted to take a completely different direction. Ryan definitely did. He's always been into that heavy stuff. And I thought that there needed to be a name change for sure.
Yeah.
And we kind of found Fox when Dexter and The Moonrocks was a very new thing.
Yeah. It was like month or two old. So they were already Dexter and The Moonrocks, and then they just added me right at the beginning of basically what happened.
Like pretty much the very beginning, though.
Yeah. Because they did, so like I didn't drum on Couch, which
Or the
nobody really drummed on Couch. It was
there's
Ryan.
no drums.
There's no drums. It's Ryan playing a keyboard drums. Well, excuse me. It's Ryan playing like a keyboard drums, and then I didn't drum on any of the songs on just the self-titled EP. So I think the first song we did together was Kate McKinnon?
Yeah, it was.
Or was it Sectional?
It was Sectional, actually.
It was Sectional? Yeah, so Sectional was the first song we did, I guess.
Yeah, I think we did that like our second or third time ever practicing together. I came in with Sectional, and it was essentially just one big guitar solo.
And we all looked at it. Oh, I'm sorry. You go.
Yeah, Ryan turned it into a shred machine because Couch was apparently too short. So we made it 6.5 minutes of Ryan.
The truly best part about that song is I don't know how many people have ever recorded a song, but we all simultaneously looked at each other and went, "We don't need to play to a click. We'll be fine." And then we tried to record that song, and like halfway through we went, "Oh fuck!" And we just went, "It'll be fine." And we didn't play to a click at all. And we were like, "It'll be fine."
Oof.
That was tough. We did drums last. We did drums last on that song, which is unheard of. You do not do drums last on songs.
I think that was when we were still using the Spire to record everything.
Which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a little Amazon Alexa that it's like this big. For people that don't know, picture I'm holding an Amazon Alexa.
It's a hockey puck you plug guitars into, basically.
Yeah, literally. Okay. And so we were using electric drum, like an electric drum kit, that didn't work at all. And that's how we were like doing. And Ty was recording everything on his iPhone and then mixing it on his iPhone. So that's how like we did that up until I think. Yeah, up until like Devil Like Me. Devil Like Me was the first one we actually went, maybe we should record this on a laptop on GarageBand.
And the only two we did like that were Devil Like Me and Space Invader, right?
Space Invader. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they were still electric drums.
You've come.
Yeah. Would not be here without those, though. Shout out Ty and the fucking Spire. Can we cuss on here?
We're drinking, so yeah.
Okay, cool.
Fuck yeah.
But, you talk about how everything came to be. Where does the name Dexter and the Moonrocks come from, too? Because, like, if you ever look at everyone's name, there's no Dexter in there.
Dexter and the Moonrocks, I was heavily influenced by marijuana at the time. Still am. And Moonrocks, that's pretty obvious. Dexter, it just sounds a lot cooler than James and the Moonrocks, doesn't it? You know what I
You
mean?
know,
Yeah.
It's
I can
just
see
it's
that.
just a sick name.
Dude, and you know what's really funny is this is a testament to how shitty of a human being I am. They have been best friends and family for 15 years, probably, right? Maybe. I walked in there on the second practice and I went, I think the name's shit. We should change it. And they all looked at me and they're like, shut the fuck up. And then like a week later, I was like, nah, it's actually a cool name. I'm sorry. I was like, that's on me. I messed up. That's on me.
I
They're like,
remember that.
you're stupid. Get out of here. And I was like, my fault. My fault.
That's right.
You're playing your cards really hard there. You know, I mean, they could have just said bye, and you know, you've been in trouble.
They could have.
Obviously, you know, with the music you guys make, though, it's kind of a funky, you know, combo, and I love where music's kind of headed these days, where genres kind of blend together, and at the end of the day, it's storytelling. But what music did you all grow up on then? I mean, I know Texas is where it had to have an impact on you, but clearly there's several influences in there.
Oh, for sure. I didn't get into like the Texas, Red Dirt, all that stuff that was super popular until like, 2016, maybe 2015 when I was in high school. But I grew up, my parents were really young, 15 and 16 when I was born. So my introduction to listening to music was kind of the stuff that they grew up listening to, which was at the time that huge grunge movement in the 90s. And then I got a little older, and my dad was listening to bands like Modest Mouse and Death Cab for Cutie and Me Without You. And then my mom was listening to Kings of Leon, Muse, Young the Giant, and just getting introduced to so many different kinds of music by my parents. And then in high school, obviously, friends showing you. In high school, I remember a phase of just listening to the hardest rap I could possibly find for like years. And so I'm always just changing what I enjoy listening to, though.
Yeah. I grew up the inverse of that, which was my dad was a huge like blues and Red Dirt guy, so like BB King, Buddy Guy, Howlin' Wolf, Stevie Ray Vaughan. He loved the Eagles, so like kind of all that like blues into classic rock. That's what he really loved. Along with like Pat Green and Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash. And so he was like huge on that because we'd eat dinner and he had this old like you remember those CD like they would the CD roulette like spinner like stereos where you could put like 100
Hmm.
CDs and then it would like randomize it like a jukebox. He had one of those, and so he'd cook dinner for us every night, and I'd listen to that. So that's what I grew up on. And then when I got to like high school and college, that's where I was like, oh, Alice in Chains and Nirvana and the Foo Fighters are bands. That's crazy. Or like Queens of the Stone Age. That's wild. Cause I learned how to play in like a church. Which if you've ever watched me play drums, I should never play drums in a church. Oh my God. So yeah, but we both have the same tail end of like country meets rock of the 90s and whatever.
Well, and I was going to say, Fox, you kind of led into my next question perfectly. You started in a church, apparently getting to drumming, but you said this at the beginning, you know, at Bourbon and Beyond. I'm sure that was perfect for you because it was just all gas the entire time, and I feel like that's you. So how does that work, going to starting in church and where you are now on the drums?
Man, they got to tell you to play real quiet. And anyone who I was a teammate with that you'll ask my freshman year, there's a thing in baseball that's like you got to have a lot of feel, and it's basically just social awareness, which I did not have at all. And so you kind of learn, like I was doing crazy fills in church, and people were like, stop that. What are you doing? Um, and it was more just like that's where I learned because that was the only place that would let me play. Like my mom didn't. She wanted a drum kit in the house, but then she got a drum kit in the house, and she was kind of like, cut that shit out. And so it was the only place that like I could consistently play because I didn't know anyone else who wanted to play instruments, and the people who did were like really weird and nerdy, and not in like a cool way. It was like in a you're scaring me kind of way, and I don't want to be friends with you. So yeah.
Well, and then, you know, for you, James, what led you to the guitar and then singing?
It honestly, I met Ryan. We became best friends in 8th grade, and he already knew how to play the guitar. I didn't. I was very bummed that I couldn't like pick up a guitar and jam with my best friend for a few years. And then when I was like, I think 16 or 17, one of my buddies had a dad who found a guitar in like an old barn or something, and he was like, $20, one of you learns how to play guitar in the next 2 weeks. I just wanted $20 to be completely honest with you. And then I kind of got super into it. Next time I saw Ryan, we ended up jamming, and our next like 4 or 5 hangout sessions were just jam sessions, and it kind of went from there. Of just since then, our a lot of our friendship has just been jamming
That's the
and singing. I didn't
first.
get into until 18 or 19. I would have never cared to if I wouldn't have learned the guitar.
That's the first time I've ever heard that story, by the way.
Yeah,
In the almost 3 years I've known you, that's the
I'm
first
about
time I've
I'm
ever heard
about
you
my
tell that story.
bread, dude. I'm about my bread.
Well, and then obviously, like you said, you're for you, it was you just wanted to kind of jam, hang out with your friend Fox. It was just you just kind of had to let loose. When did it become maybe a little bit more, and then like a band or getting into bands? And when I say that, actually playing in them instead of just listening to them.
Whew. I think it's the next evolution of like, because it's like you get really good at something. Not that I'm saying we're really good at something, but you get good at something and you're like, oh, I want to show people this. I think, and it's something that's like freeing, and we're like big sports guys. All of us are. And I think, like, in baseball, you get, like, drilled. Because I played baseball, you get, like, drilled into your head that it's, like, you got to have, like, the killer mindset of, like, being a baseball player. And like, when I stepped onto the field, the game never slowed down for me. It sped up, and I, like, froze. But when it's so cliche to say this, but when I, like, step on stage and I play drums, everything just slows down. And I get that feeling. And it's just like, oh, it feels like this is what I'm meant to do. Like, my whole life has led up to me doing this with these guys. And I knew it from the first time we ever did a practice together. It was November 19th, I think, of 2021 was the first time we ever had a practice together. And I went to Ty's house in Albany, and James, your dad, was there. And I brought my electric drum kit because no one had a drum kit, and we played Sharp for the first time. And I listened to that, and I listened to how everybody played it, and I was like, this band's gonna be huge, and just for me. And then I was like, I'm gonna dedicate everything that I have in me to making this band huge. And then I got broken up with, so it was the only thing I had to like keep me from not wanting to just like yeet myself off this planet. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna. This is it. This is my whole personality now.
Well, and obviously things are working out well. What was it like when you guys kind of, the band came together and things were at that early stages, like you said, where maybe you either felt something or other people were noticing you all.
That felt awesome. I remember it happened very quickly. It's at the start. There was like 3 final shows we did at this place called 8 Airs, which if you know anything about 8 Airs, I'm kind of
Yeah.
sorry for you, but also not at the same time.
It's a
Super
dive bar.
small. Yeah,
It's
super
the
small dive
diviest
bar.
dive bar of all time.
Yeah, and we've played there too many times, to be honest. And
Yeah.
our last 3 shows that were kind of like that, and by like that I mean like 3-hour sets. Yeah, it was our last 3-hour
Yeah.
set shows.
You're playing
We
a
had
3-hour set from like 11 to 2 a.m.
Yeah.
and you make $300.
Yeah,
That's what it was. Anyway, sorry, James.
and our last we did one a month, right? We did in 3 months we did 3 shows there, and it went from like the first one was like a normal one to which means no one's there to like 15 people to the last one there being like 60 people that showed up and were standing at the front of the stage, and it was just like what is
Oh,
going on, and just crazy to think where we are now. Back then 60 people, like we couldn't believe it.
dude, we
It
played
was so cool.
I remember we played a place called Buck's Backyard, and I remember there were 110 people that showed up for that show, and it was probably an 800 cap room. So
I felt like Prince.
And I
I felt like Prince.
there were 100 people all watching us, and and Pat Green played a festival that night,
Oh,
and
dude,
we
that's
went
good.
and we rent and printed out flyers and went to that festival and pinned flyers on everybody's car. And we're like, come to Bucks or whatever. And I was like, we're him. We are we're the greatest band of all and it's so crazy because there's levels to this shit, and you're like, oh, that was whatever, and now it's like, if we sell 100 tickets, it's like, damn, we did not market the show correctly at all. Like, damn, we fucked up.
It is wild to see the journey, and as that journey was happening, I know at one point Fox, somehow, some way, they entrusted you with the social media, and apparently that went well. Is that what happened too?
Yeah. I think it was just like, because I'd spent so many years of my life being like, TikTok's the dumbest shit ever, and people who post on TikTok are super cringy, and it sucks. And then I think like we played like our first 3 shows, and I was like, and I just kind of asked them, I was like, how do people hear about us? And they're like, we just play places or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, do you care if I make a social media? And they were like, no, because I think they were kind of like, you're a weirdo that we just met 3 weeks ago. Leave us alone. Like, we just want you to play drums. And then they just kind of let me do whatever I wanted, which was the craziest thing ever. And there's some dumb shit that exists on the internet right now. And I'd always check in. I'd be like, hey, is it okay if I do this? And they were like, we literally could not care less at all. I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do it. And then it started working, and then I got them like more involved in the bits, and they're like, this is so stupid that this works. And I was like, it's the dumbest thing in the world that this is happening. But I think in a year it took us to a point where like our first show in 2023, the first time we ever went on tour, we sold like 500 tickets. And it was like, oh, I burped. This is real, And I'm forever grateful that they entrusted me with that. And they were like, you go do that. And it's a testament to how much faith they put in me, and I do not take that lightly, and I really appreciate it from them. So.
Well, it seems, like I said, it seems to be working, and for y'all, when Fox comes with an idea, do you just look at him, James, nowadays and go, really, again, or because you still look like you're having fun though, with all those crazy videos that you're still putting up.
Yeah, there's definitely a fun side to it, but there's obviously ideas that you do for the bit, like eating a stick of butter. I've done that.
Dude, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was rough. That was not cool.
Truly, one of my favorite videos is him throwing up after he ate that stick of butter. And then he looks up, he's like, his face is red, he just vomited. He's got butter just on his like lips right there, and he just looks at me and he goes, I can't believe, or it's like, it tastes like butter. He's like, I can't believe it's not butter. And then he looks so distraught. And that got like 10,000 views, and we were kind of like, damn, you just ate a stick of butter for not a whole lot.
I was gonna say, recently y'all were climbing on tires, and it seemed like that might have almost gone wrong at one point.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was just fun. It was muddy, and that was just fun. Yeah.
Even though those days consist of me lip syncing all day,
yeah,
they are pretty fun. And it was close to home, like very close to home. So
we'll do anything if it's 2 hours from our houses.
Oh yeah,
that's easy. Easy.
Would I have left the state to sing in front of some tires? Absolutely not. But it was close.
But you got great content out of it, and like y'all said, the journey has allowed y'all, when you're doing these things, more people find your music, find you all, connect with y'all. What's it been like to see more people really, truly listening to your music, singing it back to you? Like you said, at Bourbon and Beyond, a festival in Kentucky, of all places, singing your songs there. I mean, that's all that's still got to be a little bit of a pinch me.
For sure. It's kind of impossible to answer that question without saying something cliche. But I mean, literally a dream come true. I mean, I think our one goal, my one goal when I started was I wanted to pay, my bills playing music, and I've already accomplished that. So it's just,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
And it's so funny because you like listen to interviews of like your favorite artists, and they'll say some like something where it's like, oh my god, all my dreams coming through like true, and you're just like, shut the fuck up, that's so corny. And then it's you, and you're like, damn, I
Yeah.
hate to be a cheeseball right now, but
Yeah.
it's like there truly is no other way to describe it. It's
Right.
like, and I hate to be that guy. I'd be like, all my dreams came true, but like, that's yeah, that's it. And it's so dumb, but it's crazy and it's weird. Like, and because I respond, like we as a band try to respond to all of the DMs anyone sends us, and it's just so wild to get some where it's someone's like, hey, like, I was this close to taking my life, and then I listened to like a couple of y'all songs, and like it helped pull me out. And it's just weird that it's like, it's not weird. It's just such a disconnect of like, oh shit, we're doing that. Because in my mind, we're still the band that was practicing out of like Ty's house and was doing, and we're still playing bars, but we're just playing bars to bigger people. Like that's how I still think of it. And so it's weird that like that's had an impact, but it's really like humbling, I guess, and very nice to know that.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm guessing, you've met some interesting fans along the way. I believe someone got your signature tattooed on them as well.
Many people.
Fox, and then many people, and trying to get the full band signatures on them.
Yeah.
It's
Funny.
happening
That had to be
more,
interesting.
more and more often. That's happening. Just recently, it feels like it's happening most shows now,
Once
where
a
it's
show.
either your signature or they want you to draw something,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, I got something cooked up for you, and I draw a shitty mushroom every time. There
Oh,
has to
I.
be there has to
Mhm.
be like 20 people with the worst mushroom tattooed on them.
My
Fine.
go-to is a rocket ship, with a little shooting star. When someone asks me to draw them a tattoo, that's my go-to. Um, the weird one though is people found out, which by found out I mean like I posted it online, but I have our logo tattooed on my thigh, like right there. For those of you watching at home, and there are dudes that get it right there, and then they'll come up to me and they'll be like, "We have the same thigh tattoo," and then we'll just drop our pants and take a photo. Um, and it's pretty funny.
I mean, is it, even as you keep having these things happen, has there been one though where you're like, huh, never expected that? Because I mean, I feel like by now you've had at least seen a good bit of things and had different things DM'd to you. But do you ever just have those moments where you're like, huh, didn't expect that conversation?
Um,
I mean, the not expecting it thing, it happens all the time, but kind of what Fox was talking about earlier, the interactions that really stick with you are the ones that are describing how you helped them through a really difficult time. And I don't know, I just have trouble looking back on like the goofy drunk fans and remembering those, but it's super easy to remember someone explaining a specific time in their life and what a specific song or just songs in general did for them.
dude, the ones that hit the hardest are the people that are like, "Hey, I didn't really like you guys, but like my significant other loved y'all, and then they like died, and so this is the only thing I have left to feel like I can like connect with them because they used to listen to it." And like those are crazy, where it's like, "Oh shit, this is like real life. This is a thing that is happening." Because we
And
like,
it's a constant reminder of just how powerful music is, and especially just, being in a place where we get to create it for a living. It's just a trip, man.
and it's also like really validating in a way of like, I for the songs that I've written, James, I don't know if you feel this way, but like it's like, oh, I wrote this about like my own struggle with wanting to like kill myself, or I wrote this about, my own struggle with feeling like I'm alone or I don't have anyone that loves me. And then it's like, and it's something very vulnerable that you put out into the world, and then for someone to come back and be like, not only do I get that so heavily that I am willing to spend my hard-earned money on it to see you like perform it and to get things related to it and continue to support you so you make more. Like that's what's crazy.
Well, I mean, when I said at the beginning, how genres are kind of combining, and at the end of the day, the storytelling is where people really connect to the music. What is it like for y'all your writing process, whether you're coming up with something right off the bat or together? How does that work for you all? Because like you said, you guys are vulnerable. You are sometimes sharing things. People may not know it who shared it, but they get to see bits and pieces of you. What's that process like? And then obviously that creative process to bring the whole band together with it and that whole sound.
I think for the longest time, the process for me was to lock myself in a room and get as sad as I possibly could and write a song. And I think the past year, we really focused on just trying to collaborate in the same room during that process. So we've learned so much, and also going to Nashville and meeting a bunch of super talented people and getting to see what their process is like and stuff like that has been huge. But I mean, there's no one way to do it. But every time we have ever done it, it normally comes from a guitar riff or chord progression on a guitar, and then we'll hunt for a melody, and then lyrics, and then a bunch of cool guitar stuff or just musical stuff.
Yeah, I think it's very weird, like, we're all, like, James does a super good job at just being like, this is a feeling, and I'm gonna fucking make you feel this. And, like, that's what it is. And it's something that, like, I very much admire about him, because I can't do that. I can only tell stories. Like, that's the only thing I'm trying to learn from him on that perspective. But it's very cool, but because we all like the idea of, like, let's make something that sounds cool, and we'll make a melody, and we'll throw words in there, and then we'll figure out what the fuck it means later, is, like, something that I think 80% of the songs that we do are like, let's make this feel good, and like, sonically as a band, if it was an instrumental, you'd be like, that's a cool instrumental, and then we figure out what does it mean.
Yeah. Most of the songs I've ever written, I had no clue what they were about until a month or so after they were written.
Yeah. And that's the case with, like, we just recorded 2 new songs, too, where someone was like, what is this about? And we're like, if you wanted us to put meaning to it,
Yeah,
give us 10 minutes and we'll come back to you. But we just kind of did it because it sounds cool.
Well, I mean, you guys just put out a new song, Like You. By the time this episode drops, it'll be out. How did that song come to be then?
Ryan Anderson.
Yeah.
We went to somewhere in Florida. Where was it?
St. Augustine. St. Augustine.
And we were at an Airbnb for like 4 or 5 days, maybe, just dedicated to sitting there and being sad and writing sad music. Ryan, we came up with a few things, a few song ideas, some cool stuff, and then Ryan, in 25 minutes, wrote that song, and I woke up the next morning, and he was just on the porch playing it, and we all knew, like, this is an awesome song. And then we went to the studio not long after that and cut it.
And we weren't even going to record it. Like, it was kind of like, oh, maybe we will. And then our producer was like, okay, the second song we're doing of this session is going to be this one. We're like, oh, okay, fuck, cool. So that was super cool. James, this is such a side note. You know what I listened to today? I fucking listened I listened to the Using demo today on accident. We did
dude.
We did it. So in that Florida trip, we wrote a song which we called Using, and the chorus was like, I'll keep using this time. I think I may. I think I just might. Because the high feel good and, like, the come down don't feel right, I think was, like, the chorus. And we were kind of like, it's whatever. And then James came back and was like, I rewrote the whole chorus. And then we slowed it down and we just tracked it. And it was so we do that a lot, too, where it's like, this is a song. Like, Ryan and James will be like, this is a song from 17 years ago. And I'll be like, are you shitting me? And they're like, yeah. And then they play it. And I'm like, that's the most beautiful shit I've ever heard in my life. It's like, why aren't we doing that? And they're like, we just forgot about it. And it's like, well, unforget about it. We got to figure it out.
Yeah, just keeping stuff around from those songs that you thought were trash, and you have something that you think's cool, but it needs a verse, and that one song you threw away had a verse that was cool, but not a chorus. And over here you have a chorus that's cool, not a verse, and sometimes it works perfectly when you try to do that. Sometimes it doesn't work at all, and it was a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah. But it
Mostly
doesn't matter.
that second one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, at the end of the day, when it works, it's great. And Like You is a follow up to your EP Western Space Grunge, which you released this summer after signing a record deal. What was it like to sign that record deal and be able to put out Western Space Grunge?
I thought I was going to get a T-shirt upon signing, and I didn't. I'm still pissed off about that. All I got was a lousy hoodie. So
That hoodie's comfy though, dude.
no, it's not lousy. It's not lousy.
It was.
No, it was surreal. I mean,
Yeah.
doing just so many things that you never thought you were going to get the chance to do. When the time comes, it almost doesn't feel like it's actually happening.
Yeah.
You think to yourself, like, why doesn't this feel as crazy as I thought it would? In the moment, it's hard to appreciate, and then a couple months later, you look back on it, and it's like, wow, that's crazy. That actually happened.
Yeah. And I think like so many people too, like if you speaking of talking in cliches, if we bring that back, like obviously it's amazing to have a partner, and it's like we love the people at Severance, we love the people at Big Loud, like that's awesome. But also it's really nice to have someone with a lot more money than you cut the check so you can make a better product. Like I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all about that and be like, no, it's all fantasy and good vibes. Like, no, we signed a record deal because we're like, they have resources that we need. And so that was like very nice on our end to not be like, okay, how do we pay ourselves? How do we self-fund an album? How do we do this and how do we do it right? And then it was like the label came along and it was like, oh, that's a partnership that we can now go on that takes like a tremendous financial load off of us, and we can just go and make art. And they can get it distributed better. They have more resources for press. They have more resources for they've been around the industry, so that's great. Like it was awesome. I think a lot of people. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just think a lot of people dog on record labels, and obviously there are like the record labels that are like, we're gonna sign you to a 360 deal and take 20% of everything you ever make for the rest of your life. Those people fucking suck. But the labels that are like, hey, we want to actually have a partnership, that's good. Like they don't deserve a bad rap if that's what you're going after.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like people shit on labels all the time, obviously, but making a record is not cheap. And if you want to make, that's what's special about it to us is, we get to make the records that we've dreamt of making, quality wise. Just here after we've done that, just the type of stuff we've had access to gear wise, like the amps that we've been able to plug into is unreal. Stevie Ray Vaughan's Telecaster is on the EP. Actually,
Ryan played a $500,000 guitar 3 days ago.
Last week. Yeah,
last week.
Yeah, 3 days ago.
3 days ago, played a $500,000 guitar, and it sounds awesome. And it's just better. Like I think it's better for the fans too, because I think so many people love Devil Like Me, and so many people love Space Invader. And Ty was the guy who produced that, and he did a fucking James recorded that in Ty's closet using a Whataburger T-shirt. I'm almost positive a Whataburger T-shirt as like the sound soaking thing on the walls, and was recording into like a mic that I think Ty bought at Guitar Center. And he did a phenomenal job with like the resources that he had. But going from that to then it's like, here's Stevie Ray Vaughan's legitimate guitar that he played.
Yeah.
Here you go.
And the amps, the tones that you have access to, like you don't just have access to these guitar tones and these drum sounds and this snare sound anywhere you go. I mean, that's what makes it so special.
Yeah. And it just makes the music like way better, because I think any musician, if you're listening right now, there's someone who will listen to your music. It could be the most ear-grating dog shit thing of all time, but there is an audience for you. And it just depends how big can you make that audience. And I think we got the initial, like, if we didn't have the recordings that Ty did, we wouldn't have an audience. Because that did so much for us, like the lo-fi, very raw, kind of like, bootleg cowboy vibe. That did so much for getting us that fan base, and now we can deliver so much more to them. And because the music doesn't sound more mainstream, but it's produced more mainstream that people are used to, it's like, oh, it can bring in the average other fan who is maybe like, I don't really like the lo-fi shit, like I don't like the raw feeling, I want like produced nice stuff, It kind of, if that makes sense. Even though our records still sound very raw. Ryan Hewitt does a phenomenal job of doing that. He's our producer, and Louis Rimanap, who are two phenomenal human beings. If you ever have the ability to work with either, give them all of your money, and they will give you the greatest record of all time. It's not even close.
Well, and it doesn't hurt that you guys know how to make good music too.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street. And one of those songs that's kind of taken off for y'all, and I'm sure again, if we get into cliches, it's got to be really cool to see that, is "Sad in Carolina." Growing on the alt rock radio charts, things like that. I mean, is that something you ever expected with that song, and what's it like to see it take off?
I don't know if it was, in terms of band members, I don't know if it was any of our like one song we came away with that EP where it's like, this is the one that's gonna do this for us. And it's just funny how sometimes that works. But it kind of, another thing that kind of goes back to the, like, you don't really recognize how cool or special it is in the moment until, you look back on it or something. But it does feel great, and it is helping it's noticeable that it's helping, in so many different areas. But it's been insane for sure.
Yeah.
It's good to finally have a song kind of, past, just see a song on Spotify that's past Couch, because Couch was number one for so long. It's just good to see, the lower Couch goes on that is kind of the better that we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool because it's like, oh, cool, the shit we're putting out people like. Because that, like, nothing breaks my heart more than when, like, I think of an artist, like, from 7 years ago who I'm like, man, they put out this great album. And then I go to their page and their top 5 songs are still only from that album, and they've released, 5 more projects, and it's like, damn.
Yeah, exactly. People could have been just, like, this whole time listening to Couch and She Likes Girls and this new stuff. They could have been like, not a fan. So it feels great to have something, that you've put out recently to be doing well, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys are on tour finishing out the year. Between when we're talking and the episode drops, you'll be doing Austin City Lemons Music Festival, and you're not opening that guy. You're middle of the day. Like you said, you've been working your way up on that. How cool is it to be part of that, and then to just be able to keep touring and playing for people?
Yeah, I mean, we've played multiple festivals now, but being from Texas, ACL just feels super special. Something that I've been to as, just someone who wanted to attend a festival, and now playing it, at the time that we're playing it is super crazy. But
we're headlining a stage, brother.
Yeah, it's insane. Makes no sense.
Batshit crazy. Like, dude, we were going to bring t-shirt cannons, and they wouldn't let us bring t-shirt cannons. You're not allowed to bring projectiles. But I promise you that I'm going to be on my worst behavior on that stage. Truly, and, like, bad things are going to happen.
And it's on the BMI stage, so if you're there, head over to the BMI stage. At what time do we play?
5:10.
5:10.
James, that's the first time you have ever beat me to a shameless promo. And I just want to, that's the first time you've ever been like, here's the time and date. You should come check it out.
Yeah, I need to chill.
He's been listening to the trainings.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, my God.
And, for those that maybe haven't gone to one of your shows, obviously, Fox, at the end of it, they'll see you, shotgun and a beer. But what else can they expect at one of your shows? Because I'm guessing they're going to have a good time.
they can definitely expect to be involved. We love to get the
Yeah.
crowd involved every opportunity we can. Um, and that seems to be something that a lot of people enjoy. They can also expect to, a lot of times we like to just take the time to thank people that stick around after the show, wanted to get a picture or something. But the live set, they can expect it to be very loud, they can expect to be very involved, and they can expect literal Cheez-Its for them
Yeah,
to
literal
eat being passed
Cheez-Its.
around.
We'll
Literal
give
real
you.
life cheese, literal baked cheese crackers.
Yep. We hand out Cheez-Its every show. I will be shirtless.
Yep.
The over/under on fucks said in a given night is probably 50.
Yeah.
And we're probably over that most of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Ty won't speak to you.
Ty won't speak. Ty will move maybe 3 steps in either direction, and he's
Yeah.
just gonna plant himself there, and he's the rock of the band. And
It's
he's
kind of
just gonna-
baller, actually.
It truly is baller. He's just
It's
gonna
the most
post
G
the fuck
thing he
up.
could do. Ryan,
Well,
if
that's
he,
why
if
you'll get
he's
that chant going.
soloing, yeah, exactly. He deserves it. If Ryan's soloing and you video him, he's gonna give you the bird every time,
Every time.
or pick one of the two. He's either gonna hand you a guitar pick or flip you off. Nothing.
Nothing funnier though. A lot of people try to crowd surf. We were in
Oh.
Knoxville, Tennessee on Friday. Some dude was trying to crowd surf, and I swear to God, it was like no one else had ever been to a concert. And so his friends were holding him up, trying to pass him off, and people were just like, "What do we do? What do we do with this man?" And I was just like, "Grab him!" Like, and his friends ended up just carrying him all the way to the front.
Yeah,
it was
they just
he
made
didn't
Dude just
crowd
made a
surf.
throne out of his home.
Yeah, they just carried him, and I was like, "This is cool. This is going well."
It was at
But-
like a quiet part too, wasn't it?
It was Birds
It
and the
was like-
Bees, like the beginning of Birds and the Bees.
Yeah, dude. Like, wait until the chorus, man.
So you might need to play a video beforehand on how to do things properly.
Dude, oh my gosh. It's just, it's a lot of beer. Not as much as like Treaty Oak Revival, but there's
Unless
beer.
you're in Lubbock, Texas. for
Yeah,
some reason.
yeah. Whew.
My pedal board is still just covered in beer. Hopefully it's beer.
Ayo. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, and a lot of whiplash. A lot of whiplash in the set. Like it's like here's a country
Like the
song.
movie. We play the movie Whiplash in the background.
I'm not built like that. I'm not built like that. I'm gonna tell you right now, my drum skills are not. I don't got that in my bag.
Teller would.
My bag is not that deep. No, but like we'll do. We'll be like, here's a country cover, and then it's like, here's literally Green Day, and then, this is the hardest shit you've ever heard.
Something
And
for
then-
everybody.
Yeah, something for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, this leads me into one of my favorite questions to ask because I'm curious to see what your answer is because, like you said, you give a little whiplash. You guys have a little bit of everything. What's your favorite song of yours to perform these days?
Of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Usually it's whatever is, for me, it's usually whatever we added to the set most recently.
Yeah.
And the songs that we got to record recently, as soon as we can squeeze those into the set, I know it'll be them. But as of right now, probably Sad in Carolina, just because how we do it and
It's
the
so
way it's
fun.
received live is so fun.
So I may give you a cop-out of an answer, but it's Where I Steer, but it's the full way we intro it because we do A Song for the Dead by Queens of the Stone Age, and we do the beginning part into the halftime, and then we end it there and start Where I Steer. So technically, it's
No,
a
I
cover
mean, yeah.
song, but
Yeah.
it's not. So that would be my answer for that.
It's
always
pretty
love
awesome
the
live.
answers.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say
I-
because you're able to do different things with those live songs that people don't always get on the actual recording.
Yeah. And it's also very vindicating because a lot of people are like, y'all are so much better live. And it's like, that's crazy to say because we have some banging recordings.
Well, and like you guys said, you've been able to do some stuff in the studio. You're wrapping up some tour dates. What else can folks expect from you the rest of 2024 on into 2025? Because that's not far off.
God, it's not.
I think we're pretty focused on consistency, just we want to keep creating music, and we want to keep sharing the music that we create. That's just a, the main thing, I believe.
Yeah, and just we got a Northeast tour coming up. We're currently working on. We have some Carolina dates coming up. By the time you're listening to this, there is a. No, it's going to happen. By the time you're listening to this, we have set up some sort of apparatus to help raise money for the people who were affected by Hurricane Helene. So go check out our bio. I don't know what it's like right now because we're in the process of contacting a bunch of organizations and figuring that out. But if this comes out October 16th, then that'll be available. Mm-hmm. So go check that out. We have some cool ideas and stuff that's incentives to help people donate. So that'll be super fun. But then we've just got Northeast tours, some South Carolina dates. We've got a New Year's Eve show coming up, and we're putting out new music. I think there's only really going to be a gap of 2 months without music, which will be December and January. And I think we got a song out, Like You in October. We got another song coming out in November that I'm not allowed to tell y'all what that is yet. So yeah, December and January is the only 2 months y'all are going to have to go without new music, and then we're back to feeding the beast.
And after that, it's going to be one big bag of Ziploc full of Saturday Night.
I love it. See, you guys have worked on a good tease. You practiced that, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah. I called him up and I was like, dude. Yeah. I was like, I called him up and I was like, bro, we got to do this bit.
Yeah. Pracky. Never miss a pracky.
Never miss a pracky, bro.
Practice? We talking about practice?
We talking about practice? I'm the MVP, not the game. Not the game I die for. Not the game that I.
Boy, you all are sports fans.
Oh yeah.
I love
Huge,
it.
Sports fan.
Ryan and James.
Football season.
Ryan and James will sit in the car and they will play 20 questions, but it'll be I'm thinking of a third string power forward on the 2010 Clippers, and it's or they'll do power forwards from the 2000s, and that's the category. And then they know basketball and football I'm the only baseball guy, which is kind of tragic. Our tour manager likes baseball, so at least I have him to kind of talk about, but they're insane encyclopedias when it comes to basketball and football. Insane.
Especially basketball. It's just too good, man. It's too good.
Which is saying something down in Texas. Football's king down there.
Yeah, well, being a Cowboys fan is not the best.
Yeah. And my high school football sucked. Massive fat fucking cock. They were terrible. They were the worst.
That is crazy.
I think they were 3-40 my 4 years. I was at high school. So I didn't really have the whole Friday Night Light experience, and then I think James grew up playing fucking six man. Yeah. So we weren't really big Friday Night Lights kind of culture.
Well, even though my six-man school, we won 3 state championships, none of which I was on those teams.
Double ACL.
Oh, y'all, this has been a blast. And now you're doing a different Friday Night Light and Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, we are.
A whole different vibe these days. And
yeah.
Folks, if you haven't, I highly, highly recommend checking out Dexter and The Moonrocks. You will not be disappointed. And, guys, thanks for sharing a drink with me, however hard it was. And cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers on the vape.
Find more from Hops and Spirits at hopspirits.com.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.